KCMO Talk Radio. Now on FM at 95.7. It's time for What If Wednesday.
What if, instead of having you on this radio station, there was somebody else?
All right, John Anthony, what do you got for me?
What if the Jackson County legislature squanders $70 million in COVID relief funds after having 3 years to decide how to spend it?
Well, they would be a bigger joke than they already are as a body, and that is starting with County Executive Frank White on down. That's what would happen there. Now, I will say this. We've heard from some people on the county legislature who do want to make sure that Jackson County residents know that the majority of the legislature has passed an ARPA funds ordinance that Frank White then vetoed. And they have not been able to override that Frank White veto because you've got 4 legislators who are siding with Frank White. So that's where you have this deadlock. Frank has got enough votes locked in somehow that is not allowing the legislature to override how those funds are being spent. So that's where this thing is just totally deadlocked right now. But we're 3 weeks away from Jackson County losing out on $70 million they got 3 years ago in COVID relief money. And basically, it'll just go poof. I don't know if it goes back to the feds or what exactly happens, but they won't have it anymore.
Well, less time than that. You got Christmas Eve, you got Christmas Day, you got New Year's Eve. So,
yeah,
exactly time is running.
Yep.
All right. What if Daniel Penny had been found guilty? What if Daniel Penny was guilty?
Well, that would have been injustice from the justice system. And I actually think that Daniel Penny, if this was 2020, may have been found guilty. How screwed up is that to say? I don't say that with any kind of joy, but I genuinely believe that if Daniel Penny was on trial in 2020, with where the world was at then, he may very well be sitting behind bars right now because of where this country, culture, and society was at that time. It's crazy to say that, but I genuinely believe it to be true. And had he been found guilty, I'll tell you right now, the only reason this case was brought was because Daniel Penny was white and Jordan Neely was black. And if that guy would have been behind bars, even in New York City, that would have been totally insane.
Perhaps the pendulum is swinging back then.
Yes, just to the middle. That's where it should be.
Right.
Just in the middle.
What if parents were charged for crimes committed by their children?
Oh, it's a dicey road to go down. It's been brought up in the wake of school shootings. It's been brought up in the wake of juveniles committing crimes here in Kansas City, like the Sean Brady killing in Brookside. You had a juvenile who was had the charges dropped against him yesterday. And people have brought up, hey, it's time to start charging parents. That is going to get very hairy. Because what you will have is people picking and choosing whether or not to charge parents based on things like socioeconomic levels. And that is a treacherous and dangerous road to go down. So I'm not a fan, as much as I know people want to open up that jar. I think it ultimately is more of a can of worms. What if Wednesday's wrapped up?